Hello and welcome to your Urban Connection. Now, let me just get right into this, ladies and gentlemen, because this program today I find it somewhat disturbing, as I'm sure that many of you will. And especially when I tell you what this story is about, where it took place, and what it portrays, as many of the Republican Party and the MAGA followers and supporters, what their attitudes and views are about African Americans and Democrats. Now, this story comes to us from Philadelphia. I'm sorry, from Pennsylvania, in a small community of about 4,500 people in a city in Westmoreland County, and that's county about 30 miles from Pittsburgh, which is one of the major cities. Now, this action and what I'm about to tell you about took place on Halloween, or maybe a day before Halloween. I believe it was actually October 30th. And it was in the evening, and they've been doing a parade for well over 70 years. And it's a parade that's intended, as Halloween is, for young kids. So you can imagine how disenchanted and how unhappy that I was when I came upon the information about what took place at this parade. Now, the parade took place in the evening and it's kind of dark. So I'm going to show you a photo and there's a video, but since it's so dark, it's very difficult to visualize what happens and what takes place in the video. So I'm going to show you a still photo and I'll describe to you what happens. Now, the video, or in this particular case, the photo, will depict a uh, photo, and it was a video of a parade of a float that was involved in this parade. And the float was on a golf cart that was dressed up in Trump campaign attire. And standing along the sideboards on the sides of and behind the golf cart was a group of men who were posing as members of the Secret Service. And the top of the golf cart, they had a gun that was attached. Now, to be honest, later on it was discovered that the gun was a fake gun. But that really shouldn't matter because this was a parade that was intended, as I said, for kids. So to even have a fake gun that you're displaying is bad enough. But that's not the end of the story. You see, behind the golf cart that was uh, attended with alleged Secret Service officers and a fake gun, there was a woman in a pantsuit. And she was depicted as Kamala Harris. Yes, the same Kamala Harris that is running for president. And this woman in the pantsuit was handcuffed and in chains. And she was walking behind the golf cart in a parade that was for children. Right? Now, I want to get into this, and I'm going to put this photo up for you. I want you to see this because I think, where is my, oh, gone. Well, okay. First of all, I've got to find out here what's going on here. My share is not, oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So we're going to get it up here. Okay. Here we go. And I'll describe this to you, what's taking place here. So here's the photo. And you can see, and like I said, it's dark, but this is the golf court right here. And there are several men on the back of this, but you can't see them now from the flags. But here you can clearly see there's a chain or maybe chains attached to this woman. Now, this woman is supposed to be Kamala Harris, and she's being, I don't want to say pulled, but she's following this golf cart in chains and handcuffs. Now, that's the depiction that they're presenting to people that are, as you can see, people along the street there that are watching this parade. And this is going on through downtown, right? And this, as I said, shows the mentality and the attitudes and the ugliness and the hatred that these MAGA people have for not only Kamala Harris, but for all Democrats and especially African Americans. Yeah. So this was, as I said, this parade has been going on for about 70 years. And never before has there ever been anything like this that takes place or has taken place in their parade. So the officials there in this small town in Westmoreland County offer an apology for allowing the offensive participation by certain members of their community for this vote. Now, and this let me just say this parade is put on by the voluntary fire department every year. Now, as I said, this town is about 4,500 people. So in a community of 4,500 people, everybody knows everybody in that town. Okay, everybody basically consists or consider themselves neighbors. So, to my surprise, the officials, elected officials, and others in the town want us to believe that they don't know who was involved in this vote and they don't know how it got in the parade, but yet it was allowed to go from I don't know where they started, but all through town before somebody discovered that it was offensive. Okay? Now, the photos have gone viral on social media, and the response was overwhelmingly negative, with many calling the photo racist and offensive. And I'll say that's to say the least. It's also dehumanizing, it's degrading, it's extremely racist, okay? And it's totally inappropriate for any city in the United States to depict something like this. And yet, you will hear many of the MAGA supporters talking about getting rid of violence, political violence in our elections and in our country. And yet we see something like this. So, how do you think that this, what kind of message do you think this sends to the kids out there? And I'm talking about kids at a Halloween parade. So, we're talking about kids maybe from 3 months to, let's say, 12, 13, 14 years old. What kind of message do you think that this sends to them? Is this appropriate? Is this what you want to instill in the minds and the heads of your young kids in your city? And I don't care what size the city is. This is totally, totally out of character. And this, in my opinion, should call for more than an apology from city officials. There should be some heads rolling for whoever was behind organizing this float and organizing and participating and everybody that's involved in participating, including the woman behind, and anybody, the driver of this golf cart, the people that were portraying themselves or depicting themselves as Secret Service agents, all of them should have some type of punishment, and some of them, whoever was the head organizers, should have their head should roll. And I don't care if they're volunteer firefighters. Where was the police department? Where was somebody, the organizers of the parade? How in the hell do you let something like this happen? Now, the fire department, the volunteer fire department, said it has traditionally only provided safety and traffic control during the parade, but it didn't elaborate on how the float made it into the parade or who was involved. So you cannot tell me that the organizers of this parade in a city of 4,500 did not know who the hell is responsible for this float? Are you kidding me? Now, let me tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen. While this float may have taken place at night, I was not born at night, and certainly not last night. So I'm not buying this story about the involvement. You don't know how the float made it into the parade or who was involved. That's pure BS. You are CYA. That's what you're doing. You're CYA because you have been caught, and certainly you had to know that somebody in your town, maybe not many, but somebody in your town would take offense to this. And I assume that if you had a parade and it's been going for 70 years, there were some participants, or people that were there to watch the parade from other cities, and they took offense to it. Because let me tell you, in a city of 4,500, like I said, everybody in the town knows everybody. So for this to happen, most of you had to feel totally comfortable with this parade, and you had to feel that nobody would be offended in this parade. Okay, so therefore, you otherwise, if you had felt that this would offend some of your neighbors, you would not have brought this, uh, allowed this to take place in your city. There's no way in the world you would have done that. Okay, so people were offended. I'm deeply offended, and I'm sure that the viewers of this show will be offended, as your city is offended and your city is embarrassed. Okay, now they're not shameful. I'm not going to say they're shameful because of the fact that they knew what was going on, but they got caught, so they're embarrassed. Now, they said we urge the event organizers and local leaders to implement clearer guidelines to prevent this type of hateful and hurtful display from occurring in the future. We also ask that they offer an apology. Well, no, we don't need an apology. An apology is not good enough. Okay? That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is some heads to roll. We're looking for some action. Talk is not anything that would justify this float being in a public parade, and especially not a parade that was intended for children. All right. So stop with the nonsense. Uh, we're not kids. We know better than this, and we're just not going to let you get by with talking about an apology. I'm sorry, that is not going to work. So if you want to do something, then do the right thing and uh, and roll some heads. Fire somebody. If you want to really send a message that you're sincere and that you really are sorry, then you fire somebody. That is what you do. And anything less than that is not satisfactory. Because not only are you sending a negative message to the kids, you send to the whole country what your city is all about. And everybody knows now, and they will know, that Westmoreland County in Pennsylvania, we know what you stand for. Okay? And for you to do this, and especially at election time, when there's an election for the president, and you've shown us all that you're Trump supporters, you are MAGAs, all right? You're MAGA supporters, and that's fine. But don't show your ignorance and your true hatred by showing something like this, okay? And think we're all supposed to laugh and smile and so, oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that so cute? Hell no. It's offensive as hell. And it's degrading as hell. It's inhumane as hell. For you to put something like this, it's disgusting. It shows your ignorance. It's on full display for all to see. And you want to say, issue an apology. An apology that you don't even mean. No, don't offer me an apology. If you really are sincere, show me that you've taken real action by rolling some heads in your community. Whether or not that be members of the volunteer fire department or whoever else was involved in organizing this and participating in this kind of float through your city, degrading, dehumanizing someone of color who happens to be running for president of the United States. You mean to tell me that you really have that much hatred in your heart that you would agree to participate in something like this for all of America? Well, maybe you didn't know that all of America was going to see it, but the genie's out of the bottle. They've seen it. We know who you are. We know what you stand for. And you're a small community, but your community is looming large today on this podcast and on other podcasts, and for people in your city and surrounding cities in Pennsylvania to see who they have in their midst. So don't offer an apology because it will not be accepted. You see, you knew what you were doing. You knew fully well there would be ramifications. You know fully well there would be backlash, but you didn't care. You were showing your hatred. You were showing your racist attitude and thoughts and feelings by organizing and participating in this type of denigrating, dehumanizing, racist activity. Now, I don't have any sympathy for you. You have shown me what is in your heart. Okay? So an apology won't remove that, as far as I'm concerned. An apology won't change my feelings for you. And you now put on the defense the entire county of Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania. And maybe, just maybe, you put a stain on a lot of innocent people in and around Pittsburgh, and maybe even Philadelphia, and maybe even all of Pennsylvania. And it didn't have to happen. And let me just tell you this, for all of the good that you think you did, in the end, Kamala Harris. Now, I want you to listen carefully to what I'm about to say. In the end, despite all of your hatred, despite all of your ignorance, despite all of your racism, despite of all your bigoted thoughts and actions, Kamala Harris will be your next president. Okay? Remember that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.